Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Still no approach from Rangers for Derek McInnes. Brendan Rodgers says Scotland job would be ideal for Michael O'Neill. Kieran Tierney wins Player of the Month award. Just a few of the talking points Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, will be discussing with our Bootroom guest. It's Kilmarnock's Stephen O'Donnell. It's been a long time coming, Ruffy, getting Stephen back on the show. A lot has changed since the last time we had him on the show, I have to tell you.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
go on.
in the studio.
Oh, the studio.
I thought the leather pants.
No.
Last time I had the leather pants on. Managed to go for the navy chinos this time.
I had forgotten the leather pants.
Save a bit of embarrassment.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
I thought that's why the desk was in.
Yeah. Do you still have those?
Maybe somewhere in the cupboard.
Okay, then that's fine. Great to have Stephen with us. We'll talk about Kilmarnock and his boss, and of course, personally playing for the first team. That's coming up a little later in the programme. Let's look back at the morning back pages to see some of the headlines there. And Henning Berg linked with the Rangers job, just confirmation on the back pages of the SFA moving for Michael O'Neill as the new manager. And then up at the top there, well, it's best in world. It's basically Peter Lawwell and Brendan Rodgers at a happy Celtic AGM. The Sun, and again, it's all about Michael O'Neill, and it could be Tommy Wright in for the Northern Ireland job if Michael O'Neill were to move on. And there's obviously Brendan Rodgers with the headline Tendon Rodgers on the basis that they think the Celtic manager will be there for the bid for 10 in a row for Celtic. And the Mail, and there's a photograph there of Kenny Dalglish because there's a new movie out about King Kenny, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that Ruffy is going to get me for my Christmas. It's as simple as that, Ruffy. I don't want to put any pressure on you. And again, there's relevance there to the SFA making the move for Michael O'Neill. So, the Press and Journal, O'Neill is ideal for Scotland, says Craig Brown too. There's your headlines in the morning papers. And Dalglish, the movie, all about the man, Celtic, Liverpool and Scotland. What a career.
Yeah, I think it'll be quite emotional as well, because the latter part of his career was all about Hillsborough and how he dealt with it and how his family dealt with it. And I think that's what the Liverpool supporters remember, not mostly for, but they always remember his footballing days. But he took everything upon himself in that Hillsborough, and I think that'll be a large part of the film. Yep,
no surprise that the Liverpool fans hold him so close to their hearts. Successful as a player and a manager at Anfield. OK, let's move on to the main talking points. Still no approach from Rangers for Derek McInnes. It's all about due diligence. As a player looking on, you know, in the dressing room, there's a few ex-Rangers in your side. Are they surprised that there's been no immediate appointment?
I think there's been a lot of speculation, even before the previous manager got the job, that McInnes was maybe the right man for it. Obviously that didn't happen then, but certainly he's got a good CV. He's done an outstanding job at Aberdeen. I think that's for everyone to see. Should it be done quicker if that's what they want? I think it should be done as soon as, because it will definitely settle down the dressing room, and I'm sure they'll be looking to get results in the meantime.
Yeah, there's so many names, Ruffy, that are being thrown up there on back pages day in, day out. There are some where you just have to score it off and say, OK, rubbish, not getting it. There are some names coming. I mean, Chris Coleman's odds have been slashed by the bookies as well for the job. I'm writing a lot of them off on the basis that, quite simply, not that I think Derek McInnes will not be looking for some kind of commitment from the Rangers board on a budget if he were to get the job, but I think there's a lot of names mentioned linked to the Rangers job, which is just filling Rangers fans' heads full of nonsense.
Yeah, but the thing about football is, you know, as long as Rangers keep winning games and Graham Murty keeps winning games, there doesn't seem to be a rush. You know, if you're winning all the time, the fans are happy. It's if you were to come up against a couple of games and lose a couple of games, then the fans start saying, hey, come on, who are we getting? We're fed up listening to all the names we've got. So I think Rangers would expect to beat Hamilton the weekend, you know, so that would give them another week to ponder on who's there. But you're right, you know, if Derek McInnes is the man, you would have thought action would have been done by now. That's why I'm tending to think now it's not going to be Derek McInnes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, again, not that it's something that we haven't said. I mean, Chris Commons has jumped on the bandwagon that we've been mentioning for weeks and weeks, which is basically, do they have the money to get him out of there?
Well, again, we don't know what the deal is. We don't know what's in his contract. We don't know what Aberdeen are thinking about it. But certainly, you know, there is money involved, and obviously with the figures of Rangers coming out the other week there, it doesn't look as if like 800,000 could be spent lightly.
Okay, just a little story I read in one of the papers, Ruffy. Charlie Miller, I think it was the Daily Record, mentioned the fact that he thinks if the new manager comes in, he should look to the January window and get Michael O'Halloran back there as a striking option for Rangers. He is their player after all.
I don't think he's a striker. I think he's a wide player with lots of pace. You know, when he was at St Johnstone, that was one of the reasons that Rangers bought him, because he was tearing everybody to shreds up here with his pace, scoring goals. So yeah, he could be a player when he comes back with a new manager, that it's a new start for him, and if the manager plays the right formation, he's in it. You know, he certainly, as we've saw since he went back to St Johnstone, he's still burning with pace and he's still scoring goals. So why not give him another chance?
I would have thought that would have been someone McKenna would have been interested in, because he's always had at Aberdeen the quick wingers.
Yeah,
and certainly O'Halloran fits the bill with certainly loads of pace and coming back. I think was he injured for a bit there with St Johnstone, but he started very well, scored a good goal against us. So a new manager's a clean slate, whoever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to switch to the burning topic at the moment, which is, of course, the SFA's pursuit of Northern Ireland boss Michael O'Neill. Now, of course, Northern Ireland still have their pitch to their current manager. Will he move? Everybody's had a say on it. Of course, Stephen Robinson, the Motherwell boss, knows Michael better than most, and he reckons he's performed superbly well as the international manager of Northern Ireland.
You know, if you're any international board recruiting a manager, looking at what Michael's done with our pool of players, you know, he's got about 35, 36 players to choose from. Some are, I think, 4 or 5 are Premier League, and the rest are made up from League Two, our leagues, etc. And you know what he's done with that amount of players, and the achievement is incredible. So if you're sitting on an international board, it'd be at the forefront of your mind, most definitely.
What's the buzz from the Michael O'Neill story?
I think he'd be a good appointment. He has done a great job at Northern Ireland, but again, Scotland's different. I think there's less expectation for Northern Ireland fans to really be pushing for tournaments. I know they've done extremely well, but Scotland, we feel we've got a pool of players that should be capable of qualifying for most, if not every tournament, and that's why Gordon Strachan got the sack or he left. He felt he'd done a very good job. So I think he was unbeaten for 2 years, so it's going to be difficult to kind of do that all over again. And Michael O'Neill very well could be capable of doing it, but it's going to be tough for whoever takes it.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers reckons Michael O'Neill will be tempted by the up-and-coming generation of Scotland footballers that are looking to try and cement themselves in the starting 11.
He's done a brilliant job from where Northern Ireland were until where they are now. I suppose his big goal was probably to maybe get to a World Cup. He'd done the Euros with Northern Ireland. If he's looking at Scotland, he might think, okay, there's a really good bunch of players here. They're developing, and there's a chance to get them to the Euros, I believe, the next one, and then obviously on to the World Cup after that. So if he sees that as the challenge, then of course Scotland I think is a great job.
Of course, the other question is, if he does take it, then suddenly there's another vacancy. Tommy Wright's been linked with it. Even Stephen Robinson's been linked with that job.
Yeah, well, both of them have been in the background, you know, so they know what it's all about. The people at the FA, Irish FA, know what they can offer, and certainly none of them's done anything dramatically wrong. So they would be candidates. But just it's good that Scotland have identified who they want. You know, look at the differences from Rangers. You know, everybody knows who it is we're going for now, so there's no speculation, there's no names getting thrown in, and if we get them, great. If we don't, then we move on.
Yeah, I think it might just be a wee bit too early for Stephen Robinson to contemplate going to international football, but nevertheless, the Motherwell manager is honoured to be linked with the job.
To be honest with you, it's a massive honour for me. You know, the manager country and even be linked with something like that there is huge. You know, I take great pride in being from Northern Ireland, and being a part of the Northern Ireland setup before was, you know, a massive part of things for me. So yeah, it's great, but as it stands at this moment in time, I'm a Motherwell manager and very, very much enjoying it. And Michael's the manager of Northern Ireland, we must not forget as well. So, you know, he hasn't made that decision.
Yep, Stephen Robinson linked with the job as well. I'll tell you one thing, Northern Ireland managers, they're dominating everywhere at the moment, aren't they, Stephen?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, on a side note, if Michael O'Neill did take the Scotland job and Robinson took over there, it'd be a loss for Scottish football, because he's done an outstanding job with Motherwell for being in the final and how they've played and winning their games and how they're flying in the league. But hopefully it wouldn't be him for Scottish football, but obviously Tommy Wright, being at St John's a bit longer, maybe would be better suited to kind of changing and mixing it up. But no, it shows you how well Northern Ireland, even Brendan Rodgers as well, they're all doing well.
Yep, absolutely. OK, after the break, we're going to talk Project Brave. Ruffy loves talking about it, youth football, the whole thing. He just wants to talk and talk and talk about it. That's coming up. You were so close there, Ruffy. You were all over that so early. You jumped in quickly, which made me think that you had it.
Well, he was obviously my era. I thought he was possibly a year younger than me, but or 2 years younger than me, but obviously it was only one.
Yeah, OK. I can tell you that Stephen had a classic look on his face. There's a great Glasgow word for it. Glaikit, as in didn't have a Scooby. So never mind, the next one I think might bring you back into play here, Stephen. You've got to be able to do better than Barry Ferguson yesterday, who got nil points. Let's concentrate on Project Brave. It's something that we want to see deliver, you know, players of the future, more technical players, a greater pool of players that we can all call on. There's a number of clubs have released statements. I think we're talking about a six-figure sum that some clubs have had to put out there to try and make sure they reach certain criteria. And I think Motherwell released a statement. Alan Burrows talking about how much of an investment they've put into this to get into the elite group, Ruffy. By the same token, I thought Jerry Britton's release statement from Partick Thistle was excellent, and the insight of their thinking on the Project Brave. And of course, Dundee have actually released a statement just backing up basically what Neil McCann had said yesterday on this. I think it's only right and proper that clubs come out and be as transparent as possible with their fans on why they're not involved at elite, why they've gone to progressive, why they may be just at performance level. Yeah,
well, I think most of the teams that are in the elite one would be geared towards being in that elite. You know, they would have all the facilities in place, they'd have all the people in place. So obviously each individual club's got to take a step back and say, look, is this money that we need to spend there now, or do we spend it in the club and trying to stay in the Premier League? So everybody's got resources and everybody's got targets that they want to meet. So I think the bottom line is, I mean, I keep saying this, I'm not out there, I'm not seeing what's happening at grassroots football, but I would like to believe the people that are making the decisions are making the right decisions.
Yeah, I think Dundee will feel slightly unlucky on this one, Stephen, because they were trying to recruit the coaches that they wanted to try and get into the progressive level, and you know, and then obviously everybody wants to go from there onto the elite level at some point. But they just ran out of time. I mean, I think that's what they're trying to explain to people that went to, you know, a situation where they had to explain and appeal and try and get themselves heard by the SFA on this. Couldn't quite make it, but nevertheless there seems to be now a willingness to participate in it, where a lot of clubs, you know, expressed a real concern about it.
Yeah, I think it's good that the clubs, most of the clubs are trying to meet the targets, and it is costing a lot of money. I've heard a lot about Kilmarnock and I think Ross County as well. I think I'd heard Ross County had actually was going to struggle to get quite a lot of staff because how isolated they are up there, and these are all problems that not only do we have, but the kids that we're trying to coach have got as well. They want the right coaching. There's no point having guys, dinosaurs, coaching them that don't kind of have the up-to-date techniques and getting the best out of young kids and encouraging them to come and train and play is going to be the hardest thing for the generations, because the amount of time I don't see anyone on the street anymore. I know it's an old cliche, but to get kids to play, it's difficult. And I know my wee cousin is at the schools, one of the select schools. He's in one of Braidhurst.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it sounds like it's a great idea. Hopefully that will start to kind of bring through some young talent, but it's very difficult. We've got a small population. Again, people expect better from us as a nation, and it's difficult. You look at England, the troubles they've had, and they're only now starting to talk about how great their youth teams are because Pochettino's had the patience to put in 2 or 3 young boys.
Yeah.
If you don't get the managers that are going to take the risk, then there's no point in having these young talented players because they're never going to get their chance.
Yeah, I'm curious to get your insight. I mean, you left Partick Thistle, you go down to Luton. I'm not really worried about the disdain that some English fans or pundits have for Scottish football. We all know where we are, but what about the standard down there? What's the main concerns down there in the lower divisions?
With regards to what?
The way they play. I mean, technically, was it much better than what you were used to?
I can only speak for. I played in League Two and played a good few League One teams and then a couple of Championship teams as well. League One and League Two, by all accounts, is similar. All the boys that had played at that level had said it was very similar to League Two. But what I can tell you is it's a lot more physical. It's quicker and they're stronger. Technically, I don't think there's a difference. I think, but I would say probably Scottish football would be slightly better. But certainly physically, there's a lot of brutes down there, and
yeah.
And at 6'3", I thought I'd stand in good stead, but not quite every week.
Yeah. Did you play against Akinfenwa?
I did, and he moved me about 14 foot with one arm. So safe to say I didn't help get in front of him again, but it was he was a big guy.
Yeah, absolutely he is. Okay, from the elite situation to one player who I'm almost certain everyone considers elite. He's in a league of his own at the moment. Everybody's talking about him, raving about him. He's the player of the month for October, and that is, of course, Celtic's left back, Kieran Tierney, and a worthy award, Ruffy.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous. Since he's come back from the injury he had, I think he's come back a different person. He's obviously built himself up. And with confidence of winning and just on the run that Celtic's on. He's playing every week. He's now a regular in the Scotland team. We're now actually talking about him as our best player, and he's a fullback, and that says a lot for him. He's now captain to the national team, so I don't know where the young lad's going to go, and if Celtic can hold on to him for another 2 or 3 years, he'll be doing well. Yeah,
I mean, players who play with him can't stop talking about him and heaping praise on him. Players that play against him as well know that there's no quarter given from him. This is a guy who's only 20.
No, definitely. That's sometimes you need to remind yourself that he's achieved all this, captain in Scotland, Celtic. Like, these aren't feats that are achieved easily, and he's managed to do it all by 20. So no, he's a great talent, and if he keeps kind of improving as quickly as he has done, who knows where he could end up.
Yeah.
But hopefully Celtic could keep him as long as possible, because it's great to keep that sort of player in the country.
Yeah, he's in line for his 100th appearance at 20 if he plays against Ross County. I say if, I think Brendan Rodgers will almost certainly pick him. I don't think we're sticking our neck out there. And this is what he had to say about the young man.
Yeah, he's an exceptional young talent that's been consistently working very well. And yeah, there's probably a number of players in this Celtic squad that could have had that, but he thoroughly deserves it. He's been outstanding, and like I say, he's developing very well.
Yep, Brendan Rodgers complimentary about Kieran Tierney. Everything was rosy in the garden yesterday at the AGM, Ruffy. £90 million turnover, £6.9 million profit. And Peter Lawwell just hinting that there might be a change in the European structure. Celtic will still have that champion seeding, but might have to play, I think they will have to play 8 games potentially to get to any possible group stage. But he's talking about changes to the Europa League that might help Scottish clubs. That would be a welcome bit of news, because I don't think anybody likes the Europa League.
No, I think if it was rejigged a wee bit and we focused on that being a big cup to win, you know, we know it's the secondary cup to the Champions League, but if we could do a sort of a better group stage, you know, with obviously these qualifying rounds that Celtic have to play are terrible. I just think that it's good having somebody like Peter Lawwell on that board, because at least he's in the room. He's hearing what all the other clubs are thinking, the big clubs. He's getting an insight to where it is going to go, and that means that he can probably plan ahead, you know, before everybody else.
Yeah, because if they have any sort of breakaway where elite clubs want to play each other, never mind an elite group here in Scotland, if elite clubs in Europe want some kind of breakaway or don't get their own way in UEFA, he's perfectly placed now, Stephen, to make sure Celtic are on that bus.
Yep, no, definitely. I think Celtic obviously are a massive club, and to have him on the board, it's nothing but a positive for Celtic and Scottish football, because he can always, I'm sure he'll have Celtic's best interests at heart, but he will also hopefully not leave Scotland adrift. And I think they tried to rejig the UEFA Cup or the Europa League with putting the Champions League place, whoever won it, got straight into it. And I think that helped a wee bit the English teams, because I know to get into the top 4 down in England they were going for it, versus in the past they were just resting everyone. But I know for Scotland it'd be great to just see more than Celtic in the, like, even after, it's not even after Christmas now, it's after July, June, whenever it is. So it's whatever changes hopefully will be good for Scottish football.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Europa League helped Manchester United, and it really took away the pressure of trying to get into that top 4, Ruffy, when they won that tournament.
Yeah, it certainly did. And if there was a breakaway, you know, an elite breakaway, I'm sure Celtic would want to be in it. I know they've not got the players to compete, but that might just be the push for Celtic, you know, to spend the money. Obviously, they're going to bring in more money if they were in an elite league table. So for Celtic supporters, you know, the thought of having these big players playing against Barcelona, Real Madrid, it'd be absolutely incredible.
Okay, coming up after the break, we are going to be talking to Stephen about Kilmarnock and his new manager and what he makes of him. And we'll also be looking at some of the key games coming up over the weekend. Join us after the break. We'll look at that World Cup draw as well. That's painful, Ruffy. I thought it was 2005 because obviously Barry had won the Player of the Year for the second time. It just shows you a good season, 2003.
Yeah, I was talking to him when he was in, you know, that was the highlight, you know, Scotland, you know, captain, and I keep bringing this up. We were in the San Siro, Scotland versus Italy, and he controlled the whole show, you know, until Pila had 2 free kicks, and then that was the end of us.
Yeah.
But it was superb that night.
Yep, absolutely. I'm just looking at probably tomorrow, Ruffy, that Tynecastle, down to the wire, safety certificate. I'll tell you, it'll be nervy around there. Everybody scuttling about, making sure that any last potential problem that could thwart them getting that game on against Thistle on Sunday.
All it needs is a brick out of place, just lying there, and that's it. You know, I mean, they're going to have to do some overnight stuff to tidy things up. What are you laughing at? Well, that's what like health and safety are. If you get anything lying about that can be used as a missile, put it that way, then you don't get your licence. You know, I just would hope that they have been in contact with Partick Thistle and the supporters and their own supporters, because to leaving it as late as that is just.
If I get up on Saturday morning and there's a headline, misplaced brick denies Hearts the chance to start against Partick Thistle, I don't think that's the case, Ruffy. Although I have to say to you, would you believe I managed to get someone to pay £100 in an auction for one of the bricks from the old Tynecastle main stand? I thought I was doing really well, getting that for charity. £100 for a brick, Ruffy. I mean,
Yeah.
I topped it up as much as I possibly could.
Depends what district you were in when you were doing the auction. I mean, that'd be a snip for somebody.
Maybe he's going to bring that brick.
Yeah, it was about a stone's throw from Tynecastle, but I thought £100 for a brick. But I don't think, I really do hope they get the certificate, because suddenly the Partick Thistle fans, the Hearts fans, it's going to be a gala occasion. It'll be, you know, fitting for the Hearts board and Budge and everyone to be there, looking at what looks as if it is going to be a fantastic main stand, and completes one of the best stadiums in the country for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I played a couple of times before, and the atmosphere at Tynecastle's brilliant, and I can only imagine the new main stand will make it even better. I think we were maybe scheduled to be playing them originally.
Yeah.
As the first game, or one of the, and I was looking forward to it, because a full house at Tynecastle would have been brilliant. But obviously for us, we played them at Murrayfield and thankfully got the 3 points, so I wasn't too disappointed after that.
Yeah, absolutely. And with you know, Kilmarnock in mind, I mean, first and foremost, you had Lee McCulloch initially. Now you've got Steve Clarke. Everybody raised an eyebrow when he got the job, because suddenly a good calibre of manager, you know, from down south with a good CV comes in. What's he like to work for?
Yeah, no, he's brilliant. The one thing, he came in, the day he came in, and he sat down with us and spoke to us, and he said, I promise you'll enjoy training. And that's something that since he's came in, the training has been different. It's been a lot of disguised running, maybe not so much disguised, but no, it's been great. And I think everyone's just, a new manager always brings a new lease of life to everyone. You've got a fresh start, and I think that's what's happened with the good results we've had. It's kind of been able to snowball, and I think the other day I was doing a press release for the season tickets, half season tickets, and it's exciting. The Hibs game had some atmosphere at Rugby Park, and I just hope that the fans will come back and hopefully kick on for a very exciting last 6 months of the season.
Yeah, and on that point, he's come in, he's made training different. You'll enjoy it. Hopefully you are enjoying it. Can you see the change in the way the team is playing, the way they're set up? Yeah,
I think we all, there was a good few of us that still needed games, and we weren't quite up to match speed whenever the old manager left. But with the new manager coming in, he's definitely organising us and making sure first and foremost we don't lose the games, and give us a kind of chance to win the games. And I think that's evident in the games against Rangers and Celtic. We've conceded the goals, which it's easy to fold at these places, big stadiums, big atmospheres, and we've stuck to our guns and managed to grind out the results, which is crucial for a long season.
Now, what some players, I'm not suggesting for a minute you guys won't be aware of this, but some people forget what a top player he was. Ruffy, Steve Clarke, you know, at Chelsea, down there, you know, he is well revered by the Stamford Bridge fans.
Yeah, he had a fantastic career as a player. Probably I thought he should have got more caps than what he did. But yeah, and then obviously moved into a number 2, and you look at the experience he must have gained with the managers that he was working under. And yeah, when a new manager comes in, you just want to impress him. You know, you want to let him know that he's a new guy here, but I'm in my position just now. So I think you get a lift for a lot of players, you know, trying to over-impress the new guy, and that's what's happening now, and they're getting results.
It's early days, Stephen, but if anybody should benefit from Steve Clarke as a manager, it's almost certainly you, because he knows your position inside out.
Yeah, that could probably mean the first position to replace as a right back. No, I've certainly so far I've enjoyed working with him. He's got a lot of similar attributes to McNamara. Very quiet and just speaks to you and kind of gives you good information that you can use on the Saturday. And I think that's something. Hopefully, I'll try and be a sponge and take as much off him as possible, because he has had a great career, and his CV playing and managing and coaching has been different class. So we're just excited. I think that's an attitude kind of show about all the boys, is we're just wanting to learn off him, and hopefully that'll get us high up the league.
Yeah, here's just a little aside, only due to the fact that you've played at Murrayfield with Hearts. I'm not a fan of Murrayfield being used as the national stadium for Scotland. I think it lacks the same. If there's criticism of Hampden lacking atmosphere, Murrayfield doesn't do it for me either. I think the fans are too far away. I've been in it when it was packed for a European game. I didn't like it. What was it like to play in?
I agree with the atmosphere. I'm not a big fan of it either, the kind of track round it. As you said, Hampden's got that same issue, so I thought it was probably better than Hampden personally. You get, I think there's another 5,000-10,000 it holds.
Yeah, extra.
Which also, if you're selling that out, then it surely can't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But the problem was we weren't selling out Hampden at times. So what chance have we got of selling out Murrayfield? I think the important thing is getting full stadiums. That's in the cup finals, the cup semis, and if you're not getting that, it's never going to be as good an atmosphere as it could be.
Yeah, well, as many a person has tried to tell us over the last few weeks, a good team on the park creates a good atmosphere.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's certainly something we're hopefully going to bring to Rugby Park. I think we've got a big, massive stadium, and it's not maybe 3,000, 4,000, but at Hibs there was a lot more fans came, and apart from a poor result, we played well, and I think the fans seen the effort and the performance we gave, and you just want them to come back because it does make a huge difference, and not only to the players themselves, but to the spectacle of Scottish football. If it's full stadiums, it looks better. And I think sometimes when you're seeing the games on the telly down in England and it's not full houses, that it makes them talk less about Scottish football. Look at the state of that crowd. It's not even a game, it's a Sunday League game, and they all start giving the jibes.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, by the way. We've just completely let that go. I try and fight the fight when I work down there every now and then for English radio. As far as you guys are concerned, you've got Dundee this weekend. There's a few matches coming up that I think, Steve Clarke will be looking at and thinking we can take a few points going into the festive period off a couple of clubs, I think, that will get you away. I don't see you being involved in the playoffs or relegation fight with that manager in place. I don't know if I'm being overly optimistic about his qualities.
I don't think you are, but the only issue is we need to do that in the park. It doesn't matter. The manager can give us all the infrastructure to go out and perform, but if we don't do it, then it doesn't matter. Recently we've been doing it, and I think I'm fully confident we can push on. But again, there's lots of games that we need to win if we want to have any ambition of trying to finish in the top 6, which I think at the start of the season we wanted to. But we need to go to Dundee and minimum put in a good performance, and I think a win kind of helps, would consolidate my confidence that we aren't going to be in the bottom 2.
Yeah, and since you've come back, who's impressed you in the side?
I think there's a lot of young boys in our team that have real potential. You've got quite a good mix of experience, got a couple of older ones. But I would say probably Greg Taylor in the middle of the park. He's moved into the middle of the park and he puts in a massive shift. And sometimes maybe wouldn't stand out, but his performances have been brilliant and very consistent. And he can play left back. Left back's his natural position so to go in and play centre mid in big games is very good. Alan Power, on the other hand, on the ball is very comfortable, so we maybe look better on the eye. But both of them in the middle of the park have done a great job.
Yeah, okay. From Kilmarnock, after the break, I'm going to show you something which is going to be painful if you're a Scotland fan, because in the summer we won't be going to Russia. But after Peru's win over New Zealand, they completed the full set for pot 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we'll look at that after the break. Yeah, you got to know your doubles, Ruffy. It's as simple as that. As soon as the first picture had Tottenham as double winners, I thought, oh, I'll have that. 1961, fantastic side. and I'm thinking the great John White would have been in there, Danny Blanchflower,
Dave
and
Mackay.
Dave Mackay.
Bill Brown,
Yeah.
goalkeeper.
So there you have it, Ruffy. 1961. It was an absolute shoe-in. Okay, got a text here coming, Ruffy, just basically saying Stephen O'Donnell doesn't know what he's talking about. There's lots of really good players at Kilmarnock, and that's signed Jordan Jones. So I can't believe that. Can't believe you never. I mean, how can you not? How can you not mention your mate? You need to have a look at yourself.
It's because he was away in international duty.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
forgot he was
Rubbish. Sorry.
But no, to be fair, as you mentioned, Jordan Jones, he has, since the new manager's come in, he's hit a different level of form. He's been outstanding.
Yeah.
He is technically dribbling by far the best I've ever came across in my career. He goes by me more often than not in training at ease, and it's actually disheartening at times for you. Against Hibs, he went by half their team more than once throughout the game, and if we can keep a hold of him through Christmas, it'll be a great one.
Yeah, he's. I thought his goal the other week there, Ruffy, just with the calmness personified, just with the left peg, just slots it into the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest, every time I didn't know much about him, but every time I seen him, particularly as I was saying there, up at Aberdeen, I thought he was fantastic up there, and he's just kicked on since then.
No,
Yeah.
it definitely has. The goal against Celtic was, if that's any other team, and if that's Rangers or Celtic scoring that goal, massive headlines everywhere, because it was the 1-2. I'd like to say my reverse back to him at the start of it was the best bit, but after I gave him what was his wee 1-2 was outstanding.
Yep, I think that's what we call one of those, just digging yourself out of a hole. Let's move on before he really texts us. The World Cup draw, December 1st, painful. I used to love it when you were younger, Ruffy. You were sitting in front of the television. There was no huge, what do you call it, computer readout. It was somebody slotting your name into a big card on the wall. So pot 1, 2, 3 and 4 completed. Peru sealed their place. They were the last nation to do so. And there you have it. The first pot doesn't contain England. They're in pot 2. But what is painful, when you look at it, there isn't another nation from these isles, and the Republic of Ireland are not involved either. So there you have the teams. Iceland making their debut. Of course, the Danes are involved as well. So that's what we're going to be watching in the summer. I can't wait for the draw, though. I'll still be excited about it, because if you love your football, you want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, it is the premier competition, and generally, there are teams step up to the plate. There's enough of them in pot 1, I think it's a bit difficult to put your finger on who you think. I'm surprised Nigeria are in pot 4, after just beating Argentina 4-2, so they'll fancy themselves to possibly do reasonably well. But, I think it'll be the same suspects, but I always like it because of the individuals. As you know, when we get the World Cup finals, there's always certain individuals stand out more than anybody else, and they just grab the tournament by the scruff of the neck, and I think that's what will happen this time.
Would it be easy and lazy to say it's Brazil and then anybody else who can scupper them?
I'm not particularly over the moon with Brazil.
This is good news.
I think they're going through a sort of a change as well,
Yeah.
at their sort of a level. At their level, not our level. Not our level. I think they're definitely not the Brazil of old. No chance.
The Brazil of 1970?
Yeah, 70. No, I said that. It was funny, just to get back to what you were saying with the draw. I remember the draw in 78 in Argentina. We were in the STV studios, and they beamed over to Sean Connery, and Sean Connery sat with us through the draw and discussed. He went, "Oh, Peru, we'll beat them easy." Iran, oh well, there we go. Old Sean was obviously wised up in how they were, but no, that's what it was like back then. But no, you're right. The draw, we're going to miss it. It's still going to be the same, isn't it?
Just for the benefit of Stephen, only because you're a young man who is not aware of what happened in 1978. We were actually at the point where the whole nation believed we were going to win the World Cup. Not just get past the group stage, I'm talking win it. And Ali MacLeod and Ruffy and his mob had us believing that we could win it. And remember, Stephen, we had, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, we had 3 Champions League winners in the team, and a couple of I think UEFA Cup winners as well. Well, they were going to go on and win the UEFA Cup, Ipswich Town. There's a lot of good players in that side. Man United.
But I keep saying to you, if the rules were back then were as the rules are now, we would have qualified easily.
Yeah.
With a win and a draw.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
3 games. If we could get to a final, maybe have a win and a draw, then you can start.
Yes. Let's not rewrite history, Ruffy, on this one. Nevertheless, who do you think is going to win it, Stephen? Who are you plumping for?
I always like watching the South American teams. Argentina and Brazil obviously stand out. The way they attack is different class. But I actually watched England the other night and I thought that back three, they look maybe as if they've got a kind of philosophy. They maybe went a bit more negative, that they're not going to go out and batter teams as they maybe thought they would have, and maybe a bit more solid, more of a chance. But I'd like maybe Spain to win it personally.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think they will, but I like Spain.
Yeah, you're an old romantic, aren't you? I thought for a minute you were going to suggest England were going to win it there, which I have to say, Ruffy, you know, and I'm not anti-English in any shape or form at all. I don't think I've ever jumped on that bandwagon of people who just, you know, don't like the English for commentators or winning anything. I just don't think they're good enough. I think they're way off the mark. You know, their under-17s might have won the World Cup, but I think that squad is not good enough to do it. I don't think they've got a couple of really special players, but I don't think they'll win it.
No, I think it'll be last 8 again. I think they're more than capable of getting to the last 8, but for me they'll have to get by Germany.
Yeah. Well,
penalties, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, well done, Ruffy. Right, I want to talk about the BBC every year has a football study on pricing, and they obviously go out with their huge resources and are able to conduct polls into football, not only just in Scotland but down south as well. Gives us a little indication of whether the fans are getting value for money. I think one of the alarming things from down south is not enough has been done to try and entice young people to the games. I think up here we're probably a little better at making concessions to get young people into games, Stephen, but there's a worry down south that it's too expensive a ticket for young people to actually even bother going regularly.
I don't really buy it's too expensive. I think the price is going up along with everything else. You go to the cinema now, you're 15 quid at the cinema for a ticket and a slush puppy.
Yeah. So
you put it in relation to everything else, it's very similar in price. The issue comes is what's on show, and are we in Scotland or even England doing enough to entice young people to come out and pay the money and buy the pies? I don't know, but that's not for me to say. But it's easy to sit and say we're not doing enough. I know in Scotland we are. I think to get young kids coming, there's things like kids go free, and they come, they'll start buying season, they'll buy pies, they'll buy shirts. So you're getting money off them in different ways. But in England, I don't care.
Yeah, far be it from me to in any way criticise you, but because we've been together so long, I could read his mind there, and I knew right away. The minute you said slush puppy, I thought if you go back into a dressing room, you're getting pelters. Who has a slush puppy?
Oh, it's an ice blast, right?
Who has a slush?
Are we going to get caught up in the wrong word choice? Or are we going to say an ice blast or a Fanta frozen?
Ruffy, honestly, I could the telepathy. As soon as he said it, I thought, slush puppies. Yeah. Anyway, apart from anything else, as soon as he opens the door to the dressing room, bang, he's getting it for that one.
Just going to bring me a popcorn.
My only concern, Ruffy, and I slightly disagree with you on this, and this is just without going down too deep a political road on this one, Ruffy. Up here, I think, you know, you've only got to look at the standard of living, and people don't earn, with regards to inflation, they're certainly not, their wages haven't increased, so the disposable income is tougher when the ticket prices go up. So people sometimes pick and choose their games. The SPFL, I think, and the clubs within it have worked really well to try and do as much as they can. I mean, I think the figure I was looking at was like 63.5% of tickets in 6 price categories have been frozen or cut. So they're making an effort to try and get people out to the games?
Oh, I think if you look at it, if you go into the behind the scenes at most of the clubs, Kilmarnock, Tynecastle, Motherwell, Ross County, you have to do everything in your power to bring spectators in, you know, and I think all these clubs are actively doing things behind the scenes. So, I mean, I know the figures are there, but Stephen said, you know, prices go up and up, you know, people at Stephen has wages have to be paid, you know, so you have to bring at least another 2,000 into the ground. Come on,
yeah, to pay for his wages. Yeah, I think you'll be. Look at the smile on his face. Listen, it's been an absolute joy getting Stephen back in here. We're delighted he's back in Scottish football. It all enhances it. Ruffy, myself, and Stephen, as you know, are heading off for a slush puppy now. We're going there. Can't wait to get into the cinema with all the kids around us as well. From us all, bye.